Okay, Castlevania Season 3 is just around the corner. I didn't get to do a reaction video because I was busy and didn't have time, but I still wanted to do something. So, in no particular order, here are 6 dislikes and 6 likes about Season 1 and 2. Number 6, not enough Castlevania music. Yeah, great. We had one piece of Castlevania music that sounded awesome, but where's Vampire Killer? Where's Aquarius? Themes that, or other themes that we think of when we think of Castlevania that are important to it. Themes like Aquarius, when you get into the later stages of the game, the music just makes you want to play better. It's almost like the game was cheering you on, saying, I've been testing you this whole time, and I'm still gonna throw everything I can at you, only now I'm pulling for you. And it would have made it more iconic. Vampire Killer or Aquarius should have played during the opening credits. Number 5, the nerfing of Trevor Belmont and Trevor Belmont reduced to a side character. The battle in Gracia in Season 1, Trevor took charge. He was on point. You saw how powerful he was. And then in Season 2, he's toned down. He's not quite as effective. And he takes a backseat to Alucard. Look at the art for Season 1. Trevor is in the front. We see in the background Dracula in his castle. Trevor leading the charge like he should. Season 2 cover art, which this is a bit too cluttered for my taste. Alucard and Dracula are in the foreground. Sypha is in the middle ground, and Trevor is in the background. That tells you about how reduced Trevor Belmont's importance was in this season, and it was a big letdown. Again, I like Season 1 and 2, but they had issues. And it looks like they're fixing that with Season 3. Here's hoping. Number 4, no death. A character extremely integral to the Castlevania mythology, and he's been completely left out. He was always one of the toughest battles in the game, usually the enemy you face right before Dracula. 3, Dracula is just way too sympathetic in this. Yeah, I get it, he went on this rampage because his wife was murdered, but we're still supposed to have such a level of disconnect that we still can't sympathize with him. Instead, you spend most of the time feeling sorry for him when you should be just waiting to see him destroyed. 2, Feminist Carmella. Oh, she was just so annoying. All of Carmella's story arc boiled down to men bad. I must take authority from men. Even though I have to use men to achieve my goals, I'm still better than men because I'm a woman. And it got really grating, really annoying. She manipulates one character who she couldn't have done anything without, but yet she's still superior to him because he's a man and she's a woman. Yeah, I did not like the writing for her. Number 1, and again, this is no particular order, but if I was to make a list of dislikes in order, this would be number 1. No Grant. Grant is an important character to the first story. Him, Alucard, Sypha, Trevor Belmont worked together to stop Dracula and they left him out. The writer said a pirate made no sense in the setting of the series. Buddy, I get you're the writer, and I'm not in. I don't know much about writing, but part of the plot had a port city that the castle teleported away from. Grant could have joined up with them towards the end of the season. He just had to jump on that castle and meet them outside. I did your job for you. Now moving on to the likes. The dynamic between Alucard and Trevor. I liked it because they're all at each other's throats, but they're always laughing it off, so you can tell, even though they're constantly pushing each other's buttons, it's in good, clean fun. Which was a nice touch. Number 5, the assault on the castle. That scene was phenomenal. The action was on point. You saw lots of cool stuff. Each character got their moments to shine, even though, again, in the scene, it made it clear Alucard was the most important thing. And, of course, there was that neat thing Sypha did with the ice, where she shoots it up at the vampire, he dodges, he starts walking on the ice, and she flips it and cuts him in half. That was a really fun scene. My 4th one, the use of Castlevania monsters. In Season 2, we saw a fair number of classic boss monsters, and that was really nice to see. It was a great fan servicey moment when they could have just created generic monsters. Wish there would have been more of them, but that was great. Let's see. 3. Just the overall Sypha and her overall dynamic with both Alucard and Trevor. We had her growing closer and falling in love with Trevor, but we also had her becoming friends with Alucard and being sympathetic to both of them, but she was always the one to just scold them like children when they needed it. She was a great character, and I thought they handled her really well. Number 2, Dracula was treated like every bit of the threat he should have been. When he went into this mode and his eyes turned red, he was just non-stop a force of nature, and nothing was able to stand against him by themselves, and I actually like that. They handled Dracula really, really well. And my number 1 the use of bloody tears. We had to wait almost 2 full seasons, but we finally got a piece of Castlevania music, and they hit it out of the park. This is one of my favorite versions of the song, and it's arguably the most iconic music in all of Castlevania. And it worked so well in the scene it was placed. It just made... Bloody Tears makes anything in Castlevania even more epic. Now, as a bonus to close it, 3 things I want to see in Season 2. 1, we have yet to have any whip stated as the vampire killer, even though I have a theory about that, but I want to see one of those 2 whips, or the 2 of them fused together and it definitively become the vampire killer, but I want to see the vampire killer. 2, just more iconic Castlevania music. Give it that Castlevania feel that we love so much. And number 1, make Trevor the star of the thing. Castlevania, at its core, is the Belmonts versus Dracula. And Trevor should be the strongest of the heroes. He should be the one leading the charge and the one the enemies fear most. So that's my Castlevania video. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And here's hoping for an awesome season 3.